Don Lemon said, I'm leaving X. There's no good discussions to be had here.
I have loved connecting with all of you on Twitter and then on X for all of these years. But it's time for me to leave the platform.
You don't like criticism. If you want to get into this game, the online game's different. In the online game, you get judged by who you fucking actually are, dude. It's not about your producers and your teleprompter, and you're on your own. And if people think you're stupid, you're going to hear it. And it might be because you're stupid.
Our old pal Don Lemon has resurfaced, or is about to resurface. And I realize that the magnanimous move is to say, good for Don, he got canceled off of CNN, and now he's reinventing himself on Twitter. Well, that's not what I say. I think he's disgusting, he hates America, he hates Republicans, and I'm not looking forward to his voice reemerging other than to mock it, which I 100% plan to do.
Rogan and Megyn Kelly didn't just question Don Lemon's legacy, they threw it into a blender and hit liquefy. Rogan brought the heat with his signature no-filter blasts, while Kelly sliced through with surgical sarcasm. Together, they dismantled Lemon's media image like expired flashcards. No mercy, no sugarcoating, just raw facts and vicious punchlines. If you thought Don's downfall was dramatic, wait till you see how these two tag-teamed his reputation into dust. This wasn't a roast, it was televised demolition.
Great was watching him realize in real time how stupid Don Lemon is.
What do you mean by woke mind virus?
Woke mind virus is when you stop caring about people's skills and their integrity, and you start focusing instead on gender and race and other things that are different from that.
This whole idea about DEI, if you go woke or whatever, you go broke, that's not necessarily true.
John, choose your question carefully. There's 5 minutes left.
It is part of a pattern, and it ties in with the allegations that have been made against him recently that he was screaming at his co-host Caitlin Collins because she had the temerity to interrupt him, and he was annoyed. It's hard to be demoted from the primetime solo anchor to the morning show co-anchor, having to share your set with these annoying women. Thank God they're in their prime. At least he wasn't subjected to that indignant.
Joe Rogan didn't ease in with gentle jabs. He came at Don Lemon with a mic in one hand and a rhetorical sledgehammer in the other. His breakdown was part curiosity, part disbelief, and full-on roast mode. It was like watching a guy dissect a cockroach in a tux, wondering how it even got invited. You could see Rogan mentally glitching, trying to process how Lemon managed to stay in media as long as he did. Like decoding cave drawings etched into a glitter ball.
Seen this interview where Don Lemon interviews some dude on the street?
No.
The guy's telling Don Lemon, like, I don't trust all these sources you're saying. This is so
Who is the real president-elect, do you think?
Donald Trump.
Democratic lawmakers in Washington are calling Elon Musk President Musk now.
What? Wait a second. No one's said that.
Google right now, President Musk, and see what comes up.
No. But that's already a loaded question, you realize.
Tell me, give me the sources.
Axios, Business Insider. We don't trust any of these. The common man doesn't trust any of this. ABC News, Washington Post. I don't trust any of these. We're the common man. We don't trust any of these. Independent news, we are the ones that own the news now. People trust me. They don't trust MSNBC.
Dude, that is incredible.
To Joe, Lemon wasn't just a product of broken media, he was the full-blown avatar. Lemon didn't just represent the problem. He was the problem, bundled in smug expressions and fake moral outrage. Rogan painted him as a living teleprompter, reciting pre-approved indignation while sipping overpriced lattes like they held the truth. This wasn't a random meltdown. Joe made it clear, Lemon's legacy was the fallout of the very mess he helped create.
And Don Lemon comes out with a post on X saying, it starts as follows. I've heard you, and today I'm back, bigger, bolder, freer. I've heard you. Like the masses are clamoring. Where's Don? What we need?
They've been crying out for Don.
Come.
Rogan zeroed in on Lemon's god-tier ability to sound arrogant while knowing so little. It was like watching a cruise ship captain steer straight into a reef and blame the ocean. Lemon had a rare gift. He irritated both sides of the political aisle. Joe saw that as a form of talent, the ability to miss everyone's point and act like you're the genius in the room. It takes commitment to be that consistently tone-deaf.
That's what he
What
wants.
Elon said was so apt. He said Don Lemon was doing CNN off CNN.
Yeah.
You don't have to do that. You're on the internet. Have a conversation with a dude. Don't just berate him with questions.
Yeah.
Allow
You're
him
gonna get me?
to
Let's talk.
express himself.
Let's talk.
Enough with the gotcha.
Have you thought about the difference between
free speech and hate speech. And like, where is the line? Like, do you think about the line? Do you think it's like more important that people decide what the line is?
And then came the fall. That gloriously clumsy nosedive from prime time. Rogan treated it like karmic justice, the universe finally cleaning house. He broke it all down with surgical cool, pointing out how Don's smug persona mutated into parody. It was as if the media gods looked down and said, yeah, we need to uninstall this guy. The way Joe analyzed the downfall felt like a cosmic bug fix Control-A-Lot delete on Lemon's ego.
Just have a little reminder for you of who Don Lemon is and why we can't stand him. Here you go.
Donald Trump couldn't find Ukraine on a map if you had the letter U and a picture of an actual physical crane next to it. He knows that this is, an administration defined by ignorance of the world.
The people who aided and abetted Trump are stupid, but lived in several red states. There are a lot of friends who I had to really...
Rogan wasn't shocked. He was resigned. To him, this fall was as predictable as gravity. Every time Lemon tried to defy common sense, reality yanked him back with bowling ball grace. Joe's takedown wasn't loud or flashy, it was cold. Scalpel, he picked apart Don's contradictions and clueless arrogance piece by piece. To Rogan, Lemon was the class no ital, reading the dictionary out loud and mispronouncing every silent letter. And worst of all, Don assumed no one noticed.
It have an alternative.
When Don Lemon goes on with Sanjay Gupta and says, actually, it really is veterinary medicine. It really
no,
is.
But that's not what this was the lie. He goes, it's not a lie to say it's also used as horse medicine.
That's not what you said.
Yeah, that's not what you said. You didn't say this drug, which also is used for horses. Of what relevance is that?
It doesn't have any relevance. Exactly what you're talking about with penicillin and with like a gigantic number of medicines that also have veterinary applications. But by doing that, you just prove my point.
Then came Don's comeback tour, aka the Cringe Parade. Rogan laughed at how Lemon tried to rebrand himself like a boy band dropout with a podcast mic and no fan base. Joe called it what it was, a soggy match in a hurricane. Megyn Kelly didn't swing like Joe. She came in like a legal assassin armed with evidence and dead-eyed accuracy. While Joe choked out Lemon's relevance, Megyn dissected it with forensic flair, peeling back the career layers until all that remained was stale ego and rotting applause.
You have to stop demonizing people and realize the biggest terror threat in this country is white men.
Your geography, knowing other countries, sipping your latte.
All those lines on the map.
Only them elitists know where Ukraine is.
We have to stop coddling people when it comes to this and the vaccine, saying, oh, you can't shame them. You can't call them stupid. You can't call them silly. Yes, they are. The people who are not getting vaccines, who are believing the lies on the internet instead of science, it's time to start shaming them. What else?
She especially loved the irony. Lemon, once hailed as the moral GPS of cable news, got lost the second he had to share airtime. His ego melted at the thought of equal billing, especially with women. Megyn delivered that burn with ice-cold clarity. She compared Don's superiority complex to someone who just discovered TED Talks and now quotes them like scripture. He misunderstood TV entirely, thinking it was for sermons, not connection. Every time he spoke, it felt less like news and more like a Starbucks Moses with a microphone.
Of medicines that also have veterinary applications. But by doing that, you just prove my point. They don't even understand what they just did. You think no one's, like, it's going to end with you? See, because it used to be that way. They would say something, and no one would have recourse.
Do you know what this is?
But when you're saying something, and then the person you're saying it about has literally 10 times the audience you do. You dumb motherfucker. Do you know what you did? You just proved my point.
It wasn't just that Lemon was wrong, it was that he was wrong with Olympic-level confidence. Megyn didn't skip a beat. She went straight to the archives and dragged every pompous rant, every on-air meltdown, every cringy moment where Don acted like quoting half a Gladwell book made him a guru. She framed it perfectly. These weren't slips. They were features, not bugs. Lemon had long stopped listening and was now trapped in an echo chamber, fully wallpapered in his own reflection.
Sure, Jan. I mean, bullshit. He's not. In fact, hold on, stand by. I got it on my.
Sure, Jan. He's got more. Yes.
He's shown us who he is.
What really shocked both Rogan and Kelly was how disconnected Lemon became from the world he was supposed to cover. He didn't just miss the mark, he moved it, then mocked everyone else for aiming wrong. Joe, with his podcast punch, said audiences had moved on from guys like Don. People were done with lectures. They wanted real talk. Megyn, meanwhile, dropped the hammer gently. Lemon wasn't canceled. He was unmasked. What people saw wasn't injustice. It was the overdue revelation of a man who mistook clout for competence.
Now, I do not know what the motivation for demonizing this particular medication is. Again, I'm not a doctor and I'm not a scientist, but I would imagine some of it has to do with money. The reason being is that it is a generic drug now. The patent has run out, so anybody can make it, and it's worth like 30 cents a dose. Now, Merck has its own antiviral that's supposed to do the same thing that they claim ivermectin does, as does Pfizer. They're both about to release it. I don't know if that's why the FDA is making snarky tweets about it being veterinary medicine, but I do know that it was used for humans for fucking years before they ever started using it for animals. And I also do know that...
But this wasn't only about Don. It was about what he symbolized. For Rogan, Lemon was the predictable endgame of an industry that rewards echo chambers and punishes curiosity. For Megyn, he was a case study in style over substance. Their takes weren't just petty, they were postmortems. The media world was changing. Podcasts were beating primetime. Authenticity was smothering smugness. And Don, he was left drifting, no script, no control, and no one left listening.
And you want to be in political office, you might need to do a competency test. And here was Don Lemon reacting to that on CNN.
This whole talk about age makes me uncomfortable. I think it's the wrong road to go down. She says people, politicians or something are not in their prime. Nikki Haley isn't in her prime. Sorry. When a woman is considered to be in her prime in her 20s and 30s and maybe 40s.
What are you talking about?
That's not according to me.
It was like cracking a window in a room full of hot air. Like realizing the emperor had been naked and smug the whole time, while everyone else applauded the illusion. As Lemon flailed with podcasts and tweets, Joe moved on to his next wild topic, and Megyn calmly turned the page. Don wasn't the main event. He was the reheated side dish, bland, forgotten, and sent back. In the end, Lemon didn't crash. He faded. A slow, static exit in a world that had already turned the volume down. The only thing louder than his fall was the silence that came after.